All right, Nick, let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, now newly under official head coach Antonio Pierce and GM Tom Telesco. The Raiders are undergoing a revamp of this roster, and I think we're going to see a lot of interesting moves this offseason. Most notably, the quarterback position is one everyone has been focusing on, but I think we need to go a little bit deeper because we can talk about the quarterback position, but we also got to talk about who the second man is, who the backup quarterback for this team will be as well. Let's get into the article and we can talk more about it on the other side. This, of course, is from Bleacher Report. It says, the Las Vegas Raiders released veteran quarterback Brian Hoyer on Friday, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, after benching veteran Jimmy Garoppolo in favor of fourth-round quarterback Aiden O'Connell last season. The Raiders figure to be in the market for a veteran signal caller this offseason. Schefter reported Friday that free agent quarterback Russell Wilson has met with the Pittsburgh Steelers and New York Giants and is expected to meet with the Raiders as well following his release from the Denver Broncos. Of course, this is from Bleacher Report. Nick, I think this is really interesting. I want to hear your thoughts on the quarterback position as a whole, but Raiders fans, let us know in the comment section below. This is shaping up to be very interesting. What do you think the final quarterback situation is going to be? Who do you think is going to be number one? And who do you think the backup quarterback is going to be as well? Let us know in the comment section below. But Nick, what are your thoughts on everything going on in Las Vegas?
So this is just classic taking the call, right? I don't think the Raiders are interested in Wilson. I don't think Wilson is interested in the Raiders, right? Just the dynamic there is going to be real challenging for both sides trying to address the quarterback position for Las Vegas. I think the real thing here that the Raiders are trying to do, and Antonio Pierce and Telesco are trying to do, is just take the call. Listen, take the meeting, bring Russell Wilson into the fold, say, hey, what are your thoughts? Are you potentially interested in joining this team? Maybe if it's just a backup role for the veteran minimum. Now, I don't think Russell Wilson is interested in that, but if by some circumstance he is, right, you take that opportunity because the Raiders certainly have the cap hit to absorb a veteran minimum quarterback. According to overthecap.com, they got 41 plus million bucks in cap space as it currently sits. So they can certainly address a veteran minimum quarterback in Russell Wilson joining the team in kind of a backup mentorship role. And when you think about it from that perspective, it doesn't sound too bad, right? Maybe the Raiders try and trade up, draft Jay Daniels, maybe they sit where they are, draft Michael Penix Jr. or whoever else they want to be the future guy going forward, sign Russell Wilson for the league minimum to be kind of that, bridge gap quarterback, be the Alex Smith to whoever their next Patrick Mahomes is going to be, right? That's the dynamic that the Raiders potentially are going to approach. Now, I don't think Russell Wilson wants that, so I don't think will work out for Russell Wilson, but I appreciate the Raiders taking that call, taking that mindset and saying, hey, listen, if the opportunity is there, we'll take a solid veteran to be our number one guy as we wait for our next first-round draft pick rookie to get ready to play and let him take the ownership early on and then hand it off to the rookie when he's ready, a la Jordan Love in Green Bay, right? So, again, I think this is just taking the call from the Raiders. I don't think it's exactly where the Raiders are going to go necessarily, but I do understand the releasing of Brian Hoyer, though, because this was a Josh McDaniels, Bill Belichick, Patriots acolyte. Brian Hoyer was not a guy you want. Again, nothing against Brian Hoyer personally, but not a guy you want being your backup if you're trying to completely change the culture. So right now, I think the Raiders are just trying to completely revamp everything they're doing at the quarterback position. I think they're still going to go rookie first-round quarterback. I think that's their plan. I think now they're just evaluating, okay, who's the bridge guy going to be in the early parts of 2024? And with that in mind, Russell Wilson could do a lot worse with a bridge quarterback. So I understand what the Raiders are doing. I don't think they think Russell Wilson is the long-term answer, but if they can get him on the veteran minimum at the quarterback position for at least the early part of 2024, why not, right? He's still a quality player, at least in that role.
Yeah, Nate, and I think it's really interesting the point you bring up as Russell Wilson potentially coming in as a guy, a stopgap, like you said, a bridge quarterback for this team. Because if you look at the assets on this Raiders offense, I think lots of quarterbacks would like to come step into this situation in Las Vegas and kind of take over. And who better to come and take over than a guy like Russell Wilson, who's kind of trying to revamp his career image as well. We all knew the great Russell Wilson, Super Bowl champion from the Seattle Seahawks. He comes to Denver in a way, I would say it kind of tarnished his reputation some. Now he's looking to bounce back. Then you kind of also have that aspect. it's a little bit arbitrary, but the revenge aspect, going to the Raiders, you're going to play the Broncos twice a year. That could be something that you think about a little bit when you think of a guy like Russell Wilson. Maybe tip him in the scales of taking a lower offer from the Raiders as well. So I think this is a really interesting situation. Obviously, Raiders more talented than I would say the Broncos were offensively, as well as potentially having a revenge aspect and just getting this Raiders team turned around. Everyone would love Russell Wilson for that. I think that would boost his likability around league circles as well, because that's also kind of dipped in the way that he's done a few things in Denver. So I think this could be a solid move around the ball. As like you said, I don't think they're all ever going to look at him as being the long-term answer in Las Vegas.
And I think one more point, and you kind of hit on the revenge factor there. We talk about it all the time with Antonio Pierce this offseason, embracing that old school Raiders culture, that mentality. There's nothing less Las Vegas Raiders, less old school Oakland Raiders than signing a guy strictly to spite your division rival, strictly to spite the Denver Broncos, right? That's exactly kind of that mentality. So again, the approach, the mindset we're seeing in Vegas is perfect for Raiders culture. I don't know if they're going to go after Russell Wilson. I don't know in terms of signing him to a deal. I don't know if Russell Wilson will actually sign the deal because I think he's probably looking for a long-term situation. But irregardless, we know that the Raiders are taking the right mentality with the approach here. And we know they're going to get a quarterback, I think, in the first round of the upcoming NFL draft. It's just a matter of who's going to be that bridge guy. But again, the mentality, the focus, the strategy of the Raiders with Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco is exactly where you want it to be if you're a fan of the Las Vegas Raiders.